Welcome to Rated Radio, the show where artists and albums are pitted against each other while their songs get rated on a scale of 0 to 10. I'm your host, Shane Wyndham, and this is the Korn Deep Dive. Hope you're ready for a fight. As always, I handpicked 2 of the albums being covered today, and the third was rolled at random from the remainder of the discography. We will start here with the 2 that I handpicked, first up being Life Is Peachy from 1996. This was my top album. Of the 15 tracks, I thought 12 were great, but none of those got a flawless rating. My bottom track was Porno Creep, and my top track was Good God. The music makes me feel like I'm at a middle school, which will only let in the most emo of goth kids. Next up is See You on the Other Side from 2005. This was my middle album. Of the 14 tracks, I thought 8 were great. Yet again, none of them got a flawless rating. My bottom track was For No One, and my top track was Love Song. The music makes me feel like the machines have started making monsters a reality. And then the random album was The Paradigm Shift. I went with the deluxe version. That's from 2013. This was my bottom album. Of the 13 tracks, I still thought 6 were great, and none of those got a flawless rating. My bottom track was Never Never, and my top track was Mass Hysteria. The music makes me feel like I'm watching a Terminator grow wildflowers. Look, I love Korn as much as the next 80s baby turned by gangster rap and garage country into a land of angsty confusion from which society would never let me outgrow. I can't be alone here, right? But this group is about to serve as an example of what I'd call common weakness amongst the more unique musicians around. And that's a steep bill considering the group. Korn truly did pioneer a sect of grunge which melded emo and industrial weightiness into something plenty of folks would be forgiven for dismissing contemporaries such as King 810 as being little more than mimicry of. Korn changed what I thought music was capable of being, much the same as ICP, or AFI, or even Bjork did. But that doesn't earn them a free pass. The vocal shtick is not nearly as interesting to an adult me as it was to a teen. The easy comparison being the bagpipes accompaniment. I'm no longer wowed by most of these lyrics and actually find the timing a bit off in many places. Lastly, there are those damned bridges. Don't misunderstand, the group tries, which is more than plenty of groups can claim, but the majority of their bridges are minor alterations, left lyrically or solo barren. That's a place for your band to kick listeners in the teeth, but Korn's bridges tend to feel more like a gentle whitening in some who even cares dental chair. All of this bitching is derived from Life Is Peachy being my top album. I remember loving Other Side, but can't deny that said disc runs out of steam toward the end in a big way. And Paradigm, while somewhat solid, barely registers as a Korn disc, feeling more like a Davis solo LP. Perhaps this is the result of recovering a bunch of Korn in my spare time for the Patreon page prior to this special. What I can say for certain is that it's somewhat heartbreaking to realize how few Korn tracks break into that 9 or 10 space for ratings. But it's equally frustrating having to acknowledge how surprising many of their songs can be, few registering under a 6. As I listened this week, I had a profound sense of sadness that it had been so long since I heard many of these songs. At the same time, however, the general, predictable even weaknesses served as a constant reminder as to why I let Korn fall by the wayside as I evolved as a music fanatic. Korn, much like Metallica, is a musical rite of passage. They did, after all, define a stylistic shift for much of the sound which preceded them. Metallica has technical prowess that's undeniable, though, and Korn is slowly but surely feeling more and more middling by way of comparison. Maybe I'm just in the wrong headspace this week, but I both love and loathe what this group brings to the table. It's as though 10 more minutes of passion per track would have put them on par with those other gods of metal. Much of the week's listens, though, felt like, albeit enjoyable, going through the motions. Often as I'd choose to point to the group as a must-experience outfit, the seemingly never acknowledged drawbacks to what they produce leave me questioning my own bias toward nostalgia. My introduction to the group, after all, was Life Is Peachy, and rediscovering that album's bits of distinction remained the best of what was offered up over the course of these listens. Am I excited for more Korn? Of course, but I do admit myself a bit disappointed overall. Not because what I heard sucked, but because I expect this group to blow their competition out of the water. Please like or comment if you're still listening, and remember, you can send all kinds of feedback to rated_radio@yahoo.com, an easy way to get your voice on the show. You can even see the majority of songs I rate by clicking join for free at patreon.com/ratedradio. Anyway, that's going to do it for now. Until next time, fill your world with music.